I think I have the funniest joke in Scrubs history.
Oh my God.
As an EP.
And it was
worked,
fantastic.
and it was a great joke. And he was like, "EPing done."
I fulfilled my quota for the year.
Yeah, next year we'll get
Next
two
year
jokes.
we'll get two in, right?
Yeah. I just got my test results back, and Scrubs is back. So excited to be talking today to Zach Braff, Donald Faison, and Sarah Chalke. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
How long have you had Scrubs for?
Basically, what is it, 24 years now?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's livable. It's
Yes,
livable. You can live with it.
We'll live with it. It'll be fine. I'd like to talk to you first about what the first day on set was like. Could you maybe take me into that a little bit?
It was nerve-wracking. There were so many new faces, and we reconstructed, we used to shoot Scrubs in an abandoned hospital, and we built 30,000 square feet of what the old hospital was on stage. And it took a lot of time, but it was meticulously done, and there were so many new faces, and it was an all new crew, and every day at Scrubs there's 60 background or so because of the hospital aspect of it. I was directing. It was daunting. And most importantly, we wanted to get the tone right, because anyone who loves Scrubs knows that the tone is very specific. And if you look at the course of the 8 or 9 years that it went on, that tone kind of was all over the place a bit and got broader and broader. And Bill Lawrence, the creator of the show, and I, and others, Asim Batra and Tim Obert, who wrote the first episode, really wanted to ground the whole thing back to where we all began in season 1 of the OG. We'd still have our crazy fantasies, and we still have drama and comedy, but let's have it's all play real. So I sort of felt like the keeper of the tone, because I really knew what I wanted it to be, and not just for directing these guys, but for directing myself, going, let's just always default to real. Always default to playing what would you really do in this situation.
Zach and I shot a day before everyone else did. So we shot the roof scene at the end of the pilot episode. That was on a Friday, and we weren't scheduled to start shooting until Monday. And I just remember when we were on the roof and we finished the scene, I was like, if that's the tone of the show, I think we're in really good shape, because it was cute, but it was still something that I knew everybody wanted to see, that final moment with the two of them, back together. And so after we shot that scene, I was at ease and relaxed, and I was ready to go. Before that, I was very excited and anxious, as everybody else was, but after that, I knew. Oh, we're good. Yeah.
I couldn't wait to read the first script, wondering, okay, we talked about it for so long, what's going to be the way in? And then I read it and I was like, oh, this is so good. And I don't want to spoil anything, but so many of the choices that were made were, I thought, such a cool way in. First day on set, we walked onto the...
What was your first scene? I forgot.
The scene from when I come and see you I look through the door and
yeah,
you're
I remember
really
that.
sad.
That's right.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then that was the
that's
first
right.
one. But what had happened is we went 2 days before to rehearse, and you walk on the stages, and Zach said, these hospital sets, they were built exactly. So we had spent our 20s in this hospital, and it was you got goosebumps walking in, because it was identical, admissions with the weird octagon ceiling tiles, everything is exactly the same. So that was super cool. So we went for rehearsal 2 days before, and Zach was talking to all the new kids, and he was like, Chalke's gonna break something every day. Every day there's gonna be a story. So the next day I did break my finger, and so my first day on set, I did come in with a broken finger. It felt right.
Well, if you're going to break your finger, you may as well be in a fake hospital when it happens, right?
You may as
Feel a
well.
little safer, I guess.
Yeah, with people that kind of know what they're doing.
I just love
I
that
didn't know what I saw that thing and I was like, damn, girl!
I just love that she delivered, because I told these young interns, you're going to think this is an exaggeration. But 90% of the days that you work on the show, Sarah will come in and say, you're not going to believe what happened to me. And Sarah came in day 1 with a broken finger because she fell on a trail or something.
Yeah.
Fell on a trail.
Yeah, walking, just running with dogs.
She delivered. I'm just happy she delivered.
Oh man! Well, we'll keep an eye out for your broken finger in the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it is an Easter egg because what we did is it had to be buddy taped, and so for a lot of them, I literally it's just gonna be there's gonna be a weird taping.
It's
on the back.
the reverse of Live Long and Prosper.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
nanu nanu that Mork used to do. Nanu nanu.
Yep.
The problem was that I used to, just for fun back in the day, just spontaneously crack Sarah's knuckles.
Yeah.
And a couple times I almost did it, and she was like, "No, no finger," and I was like, "Oops, sorry."
Zach, you mentioned directing the pilot of the revival. You're obviously a very esteemed director. You've directed episodes of the show prior.
Thank you.
But I want to know whether or not it was challenging in any ways that surprised you to direct the pilot.
Yeah, it's a big show. I think a lot of people don't know the scale of in which the show is made. I've been directing, since I did Scrubs, I've directed in terms of TV, Ted Lasso and Shrinking, and this new show with Steve Carell called Rooster on HBO, and they all have their unique challenges. But Scrubs, almost every scene has about 60 to 70 background. The set is 30,000 square feet. There's fantasies, there's drama, there's comedy, and we still shoot it in the old school network way of an episode in 5 days. And then somehow cut it all down to 21 minutes and 30 seconds. It's really hard. I can't believe we ever do it, but somehow we almost always seem to get through it. We just start. It seems so daunting. The pilot in particular, it was so daunting. It was like, oh my God, the tone, we gotta get the tone right. And these are all these new people. Where every single scene we're introducing new characters, we have to make sure we introduce them correctly. This is their moment. What is not only what are the legacy cast like, but what are these new people like? One thing I'd never done in directing all those shows, including Scrubs, is that around Tuesday, next week's script comes out, and now I'm an EP on the show, and I have to worry about that. And you're already getting like auditions and videos of props, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. How do I possibly stay present as an actor and a director and also start worrying about next week? So that was something I'd never experienced before.
Well, I want to know, for season 1 anyway, as EPs, did you get to influence the direction of the show in ways that you wish you had been able to on the original run?
I can say this. I think I have the funniest joke in Scrubs history.
Oh my God.
As an EP, I pitched a joke for Vanessa Bayer, and she delivered, as she always does. And to this day, I'm going to go out on a limb and say,
It's the funniest joke of all time on Scrubs.
of all time. And
Let me
tell you what- let me tell you what actually
I was the EP.
Let me tell you what actually happened. Donald has riffed many a funny joke on Scrubs.
Yes.
But for the first time as an EP, he had the courage
Yes.
to riff a joke for somebody else. And
it was
worked.
fantastic.
And it was a great joke. And he was like, EPing done.
I fulfilled my quota for the year.
Next year we'll get
Next
two
year we'll
jokes.
get two in, right?
Yeah. I think it's pretty safe to say that JD is still very hungry for the approval of Dr. Cox
Yeah.
when we jump back in with him. Has how he goes after that approval changed in any way in the revival?
I don't think he's looking for it, but he's not expecting anything to be different. And I think one of the reasons the pilot is so moving to me is that in that end scene, he gets the most affirmation he's ever gotten from him by saying, JD's so shocked in that earlier scene. He's like, "Are you messing with me?" Like, even in the finale of 8 of the OG Scrubs, he was not as candid and honest with JD. Like, you're the one. You're the one. You're my prize pupil of all time.
Except for when JD sets Cox up and has Sonny to be like, oh, he was just another doctor. And then one of my favorite scenes in Scrubs ever, you're standing behind Cox and Cox raves about you and you're like, that was awesome.
When we catch up with Elliot, she's in this place where she's actually surprisingly feeling pretty isolated. I think we can say that. Was that a difficult place to jump back in with that character for you?
I loved where they picked having Elliot jump back in. First of all, obviously in the first iteration, Elliot was full of neuroses and just coming in as a new doctor and not confident and insecure about every choice and insecure about killing a patient and all these things. So having her come back as someone who's actually a really great doctor and super good at her job and cares and is a leader and wants to teach these interns and it has that area of her life really dialed, I loved. In terms of her personal life, I thought it was such an interesting way in to have them start being divorced because I feel like having the comedy and the drama that can come out of the conflict of that was really interesting. It was fun, even in the first 9, what we've gotten to do in terms of their figuring out, okay, like who are we actually going to be to each other now?
Donald, we catch up with Turk in a fairly similar spot to where Elliot is, where he's feeling some isolation of his own. Same kind of question. What was it like picking up with Turk in that sort of different spot?
it's easy to be miserable when you have company. You know what I mean? And Turk, when we start this, is miserable but alone. He misses that element of friendship that he had when things are hard and when things aren't necessarily going the way that they normally would go for him. It's now surgery after surgery after surgery, and that's how he's looking at work. His best friend shows back up and wants to jump back into the same rhythm that they had before, and he's like, nah, we can't. Before we jump back into that, we have to first settle all of the things we've kind of buried and we're not talking about. Like, I haven't worked with you in a while, and when the last time I worked with you, we had so much fun together, and you walked away from it, and you left me here by myself, and now I'm here, you know, doing this job, this thankless job, and there's nobody at the end of the day for me to turn to. You know, I have my wife and everything like that, but when you were here, we could do so many other things.
And there's a lot of resentment and judgment from him, too, because he's like, you learned all that, and you put in all those years, and you're writing scripts in the suburbs.
Right, and you're freaking stitching toes together, you're removing splinters. That's a big thing to play for an actor, you know what I mean? Especially someone who's been silly a whole career on a show, who's pretty much helped with the punchlines and the jokes and stuff like that. And so I was very excited when that scene came up. I remember just the storyline itself, I remember I rehearsed it over and over again, and then when we were about to shoot it, something happened and we couldn't shoot it, so I had another month just to sit on it and think about it. And I remember Zach kept asking me, dude, please know your lines when it comes. And I was like, oh, I'm ready for it. And I brushed him off like, come on, man. Because I knew when the moment came, I would be ready, because it's a great thing, you know what I mean? It's a good storyline to have for any actor, just something to play against type, and that's what he got to do. That's what I got to do.
One of my favorite parts of Scrubs has always been the fact that JD and Turk really model one of the healthiest male friendships that I've ever seen on TV, like codependence notwithstanding, because there's a little of that. I want to know for you guys, like, how important was it for you to like continue to evolve that for the revival?
Now more than ever, we on the podcast we have Scott Galloway on. I don't know if you know him, but he writes and speaks a lot about the male loneliness epidemic, and it was really interesting hearing him talk about it. And over the years, I think Donald and I have heard, in a non-jokey way, a lot of men say that we modeled for them a way that they could be with their male friends.
I tell my male friends that I love them when I get off the phone with them. Like, I don't know if I would have done that without JD and Turk sort of showing
that's
that.
very nice.
That's
cool.
That's the most beautiful articulation of it than anything I could say. But we've heard that over the years, and I think when we were kids, like if you were straight and you expressed male love, you were called gay. It was a derogatory thing. Everything was, oh, you being gay and pushed away, and that was how we grew up in our era. And I think when Scrubs came on and Bill's writing was like, I want to show like two guys that really love each other. They happen to be straight, that's a side point, but they have this real close love for each other. And so I love that people like yourself use that as a touchstone. That means the world to us.
For my money, the needle drops in Scrubs are some of the best we've ever seen in TV. Like all the Colin Hay stuff, How to Save a Life, some really memorable moments. Are there any big needle drops that we can kind of expect in this revival that you guys love?
That's a good question to ask this gentleman right here.
Anything you can tease?
Well, there's a banger we drop in the pilot.
Oh yeah, I loved that.
That Turk cues with his remote.
Yep.
But
this is the king of the mixtape right here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also have to give a lot of credit to Krista Miller, who plays Jordan, who did the bulk of a lot of the OG music choosing, and we have her again with the new show. But yes, we're still mixing and cutting them all right now. So yes, I promise the people who love the music on the show will be pleased. We're gonna put the same amount of love into it.
Great. Well, it was so nice talking to you guys.
So
Scrubs
great.
airs at 8 o'clock on ABC, Hulu the next day. We have plenty more FanFest coming up. Don't miss it.
Thank you. That was great.
Guys, thank you so much.